Well, it looks like things aren't going so well when it comes to Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and what appears to be a massive cover-up going on in the Trump administration. The Epstein file memo was released, and it was claimed, specifically, that there was absolutely no client list from the island. The 40 rooms in the mansion, the 300 gigabytes of CP, the child abuse material, it was all for one man. He apparently took a bunch of Viagra and Blue Chews, and it's called the Maxi Blue Agra. It's a cocktail of, let's just say, maybe not a chicken, but there was a cock involved, proportions. We also found out he did suicide himself, and it turns out you got to believe Kash Patel because Indians are reliable people in all forms of business, including when it comes to honesty. Plus, there was devastating floods in Texas, which are absolutely horrible. Nearly 100 are dead, and over 30 children, it looks like now, are missing, some of which are already presumed dead. On top of that, there are some new developments in raids going on in Los Angeles as the U.S. military has entered MacArthur Park, which is the first time the U.S. military has entered a foreign piece of soil invaded by actual enemies of the United States. We're talking about these stories and so much more here on another episode of The Rift, live Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's start the show. Well, it doesn't seem like things are going too well for the Trump administration. RiftTV.com reports that Trump's FBI is slammed. Go to put that on the screen there. Trump's FBI is slammed. Nope, put it on the screen. Doof, doof. There you go. You just go full screen usually when we're going from the show there. Just put that full screen there. Trump's FBI slammed for whitewash as Epstein client list mystery deepens. RiftTV.com reporting that the U.S. Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation have concluded an exhaustive review of Jeffrey Epstein's case findings, no evidence of a client list or blackmail scheme involving prominent individuals, according to a two-page memo published Monday. The memo, which details a thorough investigation of Epstein files, also reaffirms that Epstein died by suicide on August 10, 2019, at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. The findings first obtained by Axios align with prior conclusions from the city's chief medical examiner, saying it also concluded saying, actually, you are retarded. The fact that you thought something was going to change and that things were going to be different this time around just means that you're stupid and everybody's laughing at you. But this is actually a crazy development going on here. I mean, as we're invading, Iran, when we said there would be no new wars, as we continue to inflate our currency and fight for fiscal conservatism, while also massively increasing our debt by $4 trillion, we are in a position to where I don't even know if I'm good at gaslighting anymore because every time I think I get better at it, the government one-ups me. Joining me today to talk about these stories and so much more here are contributors here at rifttv.com. Tell us who you are and why you're here.
All right, well, my name is Braeden Sorbo. I am a contributor for Rift, as well as an actor and an author. Embrace Masculinity. I actually remembered the physical copy, and so we're going to have some fun today. But as they say, nothing ever happens.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. Also, joining us remote as well is our contributor at rifttv.com. Tell us who you are, why you're here.
Yeah, my name's Sarah Stott, contributor here for Rift, and I am very excited to talk about this very depressing situation today. And Braeden, I would argue it's not that nothing ever happens, that nothing ever happened. Epstein didn't even exist.
True. In fact, Epstein was just my lawyer. Greenberg and Epstein were my lawyers back in the day. They were protecting me from harm. In fact, you don't got to believe your eyes. Speaking of that, a handsome devil today who also definitely wasn't on Epstein Island. Welcome back.
Hey, happy to be here. Michael Hennessy from Snowflake_News, also a Rift contributor and assistant producer. Happy to be here. And yeah, unfortunately, another day, the winning can't stop coming, I guess. But
yeah. Well, a lot of people can't stop coming.
Especially on that island.
Yeah, on that island. It's true.
That was terrible.
And you don't get arrested for it either, which is like pretty remarkable here. This is actually this is sort of crazy. As we talk about this, you get to a point to where you feel not only angry, you feel somewhat bitter because it appears that no matter who you vote for, the uniparty it always wins. And this week was disappointment after disappointment with the Trump administration, where Trump actually went on to Truth Social defending the Uniparty this weekend viciously. We'll be talking a little bit about Elon's America Party, by the way, which of course is America First, as in one, as in H1B. It is a India First, gathering of individuals who just want GDP to go up. But Trump said, we can't have a third party. We've been a uniparty. The left and the right have been working together for a very long time. We've been battling forces together, and it's just making me sick. Let's talk about this. Let's jump into it. Alicia Powell reported here about Trump's FBI being slammed for the whitewash as Epstein client list mystery deepens. As we mentioned, the findings first obtained by Axios align with prior conclusions from the city's chief medical examiner, the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, and the DOJ's Inspector General, supported by video footage from the prison's common area. The footage, which has not been independently verified, shows no one entering the tier when the Epstein cell was located between 10:40 p.m. on August 9th and 6:30 a.m. the next morning. Here's the original footage they just released 6 years later after saying that the footage didn't exist, but then Bongino said, we found the footage, but we had to they said they had to turn up the contrast, color correct, and turn up the clarity of the image. So the FBI found it, needed several months to make adjustments that you can make on your iPhone in about 15 seconds, released it, and we're supposed to believe, how do we even know what day this is? This looks like something you'd see in a movie where they just put timestamps over something. It's like, it's got timestamps, so you must believe it.
Minutes too.
Did they really?
Yeah, if you look, I think it's between the hours of midnight, the end of midnight and 1 a.m. or something like that. There's like a quick 2-minute skip where the clock will go, 9, 10, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it just skips through.
I mean, the whole thing's suspicious too. How do you just all of a sudden find the video? Like, was it hidden behind like the coffee machine at work? Or, for so long they lied to us. They told us that there was no video. For me, I have a lot of questions about this video in particular, but they tell us, okay, there's no evidence. There's nothing that shows, anything that happened that night. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? He killed himself. And there's nobody else on the list. And guess what? We found the video. Nobody's buying it.
No, not at all. And then it turns into this whole thing of, okay, here's the take. Either Pam Bondi is a liar when she said she had the files, in which case she's not competent or fit to be attorney general, or she's incompetent when she thought she had the files, but they didn't actually exist, in which case she's incompetent and not fit to be attorney general. Either way you look at it, she needs to resign, but we know that that's not going to happen because she works for the Uniparty. That's why we didn't get Matt Gaetz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't get Matt Gaetz because Matt Gaetz apparently likes young girls, but who doesn't? but depends on how young you mean. You know what I mean? Like Epstein young, it's a little bit too young, as in maybe like 8 years too young, maybe 10 years too young. But in terms of I guess Trump always said Epstein liked young girls. That was sort of his thing. Jokes aside about Gaetz, he's innocent. I was there the whole time. I saw everything. He didn't do anything. Trust me. But I do say that the main problem with this is Gaetz was that he didn't take money from AIPAC. Everybody knows that, right? So this is all about, we're gonna look into the details here of why they're covering up for what I believe is a Mossad insider blackmail ring, why Trump would be involved in this. And we can let Trump's own words sort of be put back in his mouth, because he's the one who called out. I think you were the one that pointed out last time you were here. Was it you or somebody else that Marco Rubio was unfit for presidential office because he took money from the Adelsons?
Yeah.
And if you take that money, then you're a puppet and a slave for the Israeli regime. Trump then took over $100 million declared, by the way, through actual lobbying. But that doesn't mean that now this is why I hate MAGA now. I kind of hate MAGA because I kind of hate MAGA now. You can cool it on the one thing sound effects, bro. No, I kind of hate it because anything that Trump said, it doesn't matter if he's being inconsistent. If Trump says it, it's now gospel. And they do that now, where it's like Trump literally said something smart, which is why we used to like him. Then he goes against what he said, which is what makes us angry. And they're like, bro, so what are you, anti-Trump? You're like, Trump's anti-Trump.
Yeah. It kind of goes with that whole quote he had that one time. He could walk in the middle of Times Square and shoot somebody and everybody would still agree with him at some point. And you're seeing that a lot now with the people who just follow blindly anything that Trump does. And the crazy thing too is I'm seeing a lot of influencers come out now, since they're saying, there's nothing on anybody from the island, there's no list. And a lot of these MAGA, whatever influencers are just saying like, Well, the previous administration probably deleted it. And it's
Yeah.
like, is this what we're going to go with here, people? That they just came in and decided to delete everything that had to do with Epstein? I'm finding that hard to believe.
Well, regardless of if it's true or not, the fact of the matter is Trump's administration came out and said, we have the stuff. So it goes back to they were either lying or stupid, and neither one of those is a good look. I mean, I made a video today. My post tonight was like, Trump's going to release the Epstein files, and then it cuts to me, and it's like, well, actually, there were no files, and he offed himself. And then I'm getting comments like, well, thank you. I mean, I don't agree with anything you say, but at least you can call out other Republicans. And I was like, whoa, don't group me in with those guys.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing here.
Well, they're doing the party of transparency, allegedly. And then they had all these influencers come in, hold binders, and say the truth is finally going to be released. And then nothing ever got done. The binders had nothing inside them. You know, what they did is they just dragged us along as far as they could. They seen the pressure that they're getting. So the way they responded is just saying there's nothing there, which is absolutely absurd.
By the way, Rovaz, I want to go to Sarah in a second, but I just thought I would read a funny statement. You know, DC Drano, who of course is a friend of the show, and I really like him. We've known each other for about almost a decade now. I think this is the first time we've probably had a beer together and drank. But he did release a statement about this because, of course, he was one of the individuals that primarily was involved in the what we call Epstein Filegate that was happening. He was one of the main people that had the binder, and he put out a response. I don't want to read the whole thing, but I actually wanted to go to you, Sarah, and hear your opinion because he said this, right? We all know. I mean, let me go down here to, I think, did he put up the picture? No, he didn't put up the picture, but he said, as one of the influencers who was given the now infamous Epstein binder, I want to share a few thoughts. Because we all saw that. We saw them come out with the binder. And I think it's fair. I don't want to jump on this train of like, oh, con ink this, con ink that. Like, let's hear his side of the story. He finally came out and spoke. I'm sure the pressure's been a little high. Did he speak now because he was just given the opportunity to speak? Was he given the order to speak? I don't know. But I can tell you this. He said, I understand the rage people have for demanding the Epstein client list and arrests. Every influencer there that day feels the same anger watching pedo elites get away with the most heinous crimes. We want justice, and almost all of us have called for the client list and arrest for years, is what he claims. We have had no idea we would receive the Epstein binder. So he claims that. I could believe that, right?
Yeah, it's altogether possible that they were just invited to the White House for some influencer thing. And then all of a sudden, Pam Bondi is like, hey guys, take your binders. And they all went outside, you know, Libs of TikTok was like, children were sexually abused, like, which was just crazy of a reaction. But yeah, I can certainly believe it.
Yeah, well, Sarah, I want to go to you because, you know, I don't need to read through the whole thing, but essentially he's saying, like, if you look down the whole thing, it's like we had a surprise meeting with JD Vance. Their photo shoot was not planned. He claims number 4. Blah, blah, blah. You know, just basically saying we're just as mad as you are. We got bamboozled as well. The question is it's bad either way. If they got bamboozled and thinking they got a list that they didn't get, or they were bamboozled, to me, I think that plan A was to release the files. What this shows was a whole other plan, and it kept getting delayed, and it became mop up after mop up after mop up. To where like it comes out kind of like when you finally have to fess up when you do something wrong. You lie and you lie and you lie and you go, you know what? Usually it ends with the truth where you go, hey, you know what?
Fine.
I cheated or I stole that from you or I did hit my little brother, whatever it is people say. But this one, it was like actually you hallucinated the whole thing and everyone who was involved also hallucinated it too, and they're just as mad as you. We're all just as mad because we were all lied to. And as everyone's pointing fingers now, like, we were just all lied to. You, me. And you're like, then who did the lying? Mm-hmm. If we're all victims, that's what it feels like now, Sarah, that we're all victims. We are muted. By the way, I don't know. Check.
Got it. Yeah, I kind of believe DC Drano because I saw statements that were similar from a lot of the other influencers who were there, and it's pretty believable. Like I think from like Jack Posobiec said similar things that they didn't know what was going to happen. They thought they received the files. They were happy about it. They didn't plan the photo shoot. They walked out holding them. And I don't know. I don't think they were, I don't think someone like Jack Posobiec is necessarily part of the deep state. And he's the one, it's Jack Posobiec trying to prevent the release of the Epstein files. Like, obviously that's not true. I think there's just like forces greater than these people, probably even forces greater than Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. I feel like they genuinely do want to see them release. And I don't think we'll ever know the reason why they're not being released. Maybe their families are being threatened. Maybe they have information, blackmail on someone important to them. Maybe, I don't know. They're probably taking orders from someone else. And that's the scary part, is like we don't even know, like we can't even see a list of names of like who exactly is doing the blackmailing and pulling the strings. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, we do know. I mean, look, it's pretty interesting. So Gateway Pundit reported that FBI memo concluded, right, that he committed suicide. But I'm going to go to something else here, which are some videos showing the contradiction. I don't care about the 10 hours of long surveillance. I want to look at this. This is the smoking gun here, which is Pam Bondi talking about the fact that she had the list on her desk a few weeks ago, which means, this is what I mean, somebody's lying. But before we talk about that, please do not forget, and I mean do not forget right now in this time, that there's something very, very important. One of the main things that we need to talk about is, I mean, I guess we're going to skip the ads. I don't have any of the stuff in here, but did you put the lower thirds and stuff in there for it?
The new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I want to talk to you about something tonight, right? Thanks to Hyperbit Technologies for sponsoring today's video. You can get their latest presentation on their website. It's awesome. It's in the description. It's absolutely important that you check it out. This video was conducted on behalf of Hyperbit Technologies and was funded to capitalize on it. I have been compensated for this video, they want me to say. I only express my opinion based on my experience. Your experience may be different. These videos are for educational international purposes only. Investing of any kind involves risk. We will be talking about that more tomorrow night, as we won't be talking about that tonight directly, but we do have a new sponsor, and I just wanted to give a shout out to them, and they will be joining the show tomorrow. But it is an investment firm, and anytime we talk about anything financial, just remind people I'm not an expert, and we'll get into that tomorrow because we don't have all the assets here are not working in the script. Anyway, let's just continue on here. So we have the video here where she explains this. Check this out.
You know, I saw your appearance at CPAC with Ben and with Ted Cruz, and one of the things that you alluded to, and this is something Donald Trump has talked about, the DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you. You know, I saw your appearance at CPAC with.
So, look, I don't know what people want to say about this, but it's like she said they were on her desk, and like I don't want to make this about women lying, but I do know that if you wanted to get someone who would never take accountability for something in the government, my choice would be an Indian person and a female, right? That would be my first choices when it came to people who don't take accountability for their dishonesty and their gaslighting. And I don't mean to make that about race or about gender. It's just like Pam Bondi is known for her cover-ups, especially with Epstein predating all the way here in Florida, right? She was already the attorney involved in that. Plus, you have to realize the prosecutory attorney, right, that is directly involved in the case is Comey's daughter, who also was in charge of the Diddy case. So we have the same prosecutory, attorney that's in charge of what? Both of the intended international blackmail ring trials. And so it's like, the fact that she's saying she had these on her desk, I don't know if she knew she had them. I don't know if she was just lying then like she's lying now. She's just saying what she's told to be said, that she's just a puppet. But when they elected Pam Bondi, as actually I said on the show, I remember when they nominated her, I go, this might be the end of the Trump admin, because Pam Bondi we're from Florida, she's from here, was always a hack job. And immediately when we were at CPAC, just recently, I remember Ed, who's now on the team here, he's helping with tech, was like, Pam Bondi being involved in the Trump administration. She's a neocon. She's a liar. She's a snake for the regime. And this is going to be very bad. We're not going to get any answers. So he told me this, like, we're not getting any answers. And I feel like with Pam, if you live in Florida, which I barely lived here, but if you live in Florida, immediately you asked people who was a snake here. And immediately people knew it was Pam. She's not even a big Trump supporter herself.
Yeah, I also know Caroline Levitt, she tried to cover for Pam Bondi, and she said, oh, no, she never said she had the client list, or she didn't mean that. She was just saying that she had some files and that we were going to look into it. And she's just trying to completely, backtrack.
Yeah, we got a
do
few
damage
different
control.
we got a few different stories with Pam Bondi. You know, Pam Bondi, she was, you know, around here in Florida when they had the whole Epstein case going on before in the past. It makes you kind of wonder, is that how she got into her position? Was that related to it? Is that why they brought her in? That's only something I could speculate on. But she had a bunch of different versions. First, they were on the desk, and then you had the interview she had where she was talking to somebody else. I think it was like a James O'Keefe video where she said there's like thousands of hours of all this footage and everything. But there's a lot of questions that are drawn from this. I do think that they, you know, what they're doing is they're pretty much just trying to bury everything, and they want the American people to just follow blindly. But we're not going to keep following blindly to these types of things. We're sick and tired of it. You know, we want justice for what happened, but unfortunately, these elected officials that we have in, they're not going to give it. This is not the party of transparency. It's far from that.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think, honestly, getting James O'Keefe on the show would be kind of cool to get another perspective on this. It sort of goes back to what Elijah was saying. It's like if you want someone who's going to be disingenuous or be able to lie and cover it up, you have an Indian or a woman. Bonus points if it's an Indian woman specifically. Shout out Usha Vance, right? But it really is nothing short of disappointing and also not surprising. I mean, you have the two largest blackmail pedophile rings in the country at the very least, but potentially in the world, right? Especially when it comes to American politics, which is worldwide. We are spread. We do have our fingers in basically everything. And you have the same prosecution, basically, the same lawyer who's prosecuting both cases. You have Pam Bondi, who historically covered up the one in Florida. So it's not a surprise that any of this is happening. And I think a lot of people were unfortunately misled when they were told how good Kash Patel was and how good. I mean, Dan Bongino had on his show, oh, Epstein didn't unalive himself. Epstein was this, Epstein was that. Like, he was going hardcore. He said, bookmark this because this will happen. And unfortunately, people did bookmark it because when he came out, it was like, well, actually, he did off himself. You know, everyone just replayed that video of him going, you know, and so at least with a few people within the American party, not that American party, but within the American country as a whole, we have some dissenters, people who are defecting, quote unquote, from the MAGA movement, who are actually waking up. I mean, it doesn't take much. I have two brain cells. I rub them together every once in a while and I get a thought. And you can, with more brain cells than me, I guarantee it, figure out that we basically have a uniparty that doesn't actually care about you, that doesn't care about this country, that cares about protecting the elite and protecting each other, which is exactly what they're doing. And they do it time and time again.
Yeah, but Trump defended them. That's kind of why I'm disappointed the most.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's one thing for Trump to see what's going on here and to like not be happy about it. But when it came to the America Party, you know, Trump came out and he literally went on a Truth Social. I don't have it here, but he directly talked about Musk, you know, starting the America Party. And it wasn't like, hey, we want to unify the Republican Party. He set it up as, we don't have room for three parties. We are the two parties and we handle everything, which is a uniparty defense, right? That is a uniparty argument. And I don't know what happened to Trump from 2016 and 2020, but I can tell you that my hunch is that whatever it is that they have on him, it may not be him, it may be his children, it may be somebody in his cabinet. They may just go over to Kash and threaten to kill people. They may just say, we're going to kill you, or we're going to compromise you, or we're going to take out your whole family like they did the Kennedys, right? For the next 15 years, we will take everybody out and make it appear like accidents. I don't know what it is. In chat, maybe you would want to agree with me on this, but we definitely need a new government, right? There's no shadow of a doubt in my mind that what we are dealing with is beyond compromise, you know? And so one of the things is that Peter Doocy was sitting down there in the White House from Fox News. And this is originally reported by Florida Voice News. It's from the live feed. I think this is the public broadcasting feed. I'm not sure. But Caroline Leavitt is there. And listen to this interaction. And listen to, like, the White House doesn't even know how to respond to this because it's such a farce. It makes my blood boil.
Client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk.
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview, which was on your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
I love how she immediately deflects to like, oh, guess what? We're deporting people, we're locking up criminals. It's like that's exactly what Trump did too. And they're all like, well, the FBI is just super busy with, deportations and everything. And so they just don't have time for the Epstein list. It's basically what they're trying to do now. And it's like, okay, that's not gonna work. And also I feel vindicated for not liking Caroline Levitt for like attacking her, and a bunch of people got mad at me, but I was like, listen, if you're the kind of person who gives birth to a baby and you're a woman and then you leave him when he's 4 days old to go back to work full time, I just don't trust you because there's something wrong with you.
Someone called her Cream Jean Pierre because she's the white version, instead of
That's hilarious.
yeah, she's Cream Jean Pierre. It is true though. But
the FBI too, how you were saying that the FBI, they don't have enough time, but they actually put out there was an article that came out not too long ago where they said that the FBI had added extra shifts where they were spending 12 hours actually reviewing these files and then just to come up with nothing.
Yeah.
And that's really...
Look at this, though. I mean, look, remember this? This was the interview with Maria Bartiromo, I'm pretty sure. Cash Patel and Dan Bongino, where they already said what they said today about that he committed suicide. Listen.
Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work. You said
I don't think
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean...
Okay, so, yeah, he's like, people don't believe it because here's the point. I had written something on X that I think people obviously, understand to be very true and very, very, very something that oh, wait, sorry, 1 second. I'm sorry. You're talking about the Epstein articles, the client list and stuff like that? Don't worry about that. Check this out. Wow, this is so much more interesting than the Epstein files.
Dude, I've forgotten all about those kids.
We are so back.
Every child that was violated goes away one tap at a time.
It's good.
Yeah. Wow.
You think he carries the board with him everywhere?
It's got to be heavy.
Right?
Like the trauma that the victims of a international child sex ring probably carry, enough to kill themselves in Western Australia. But
right before they spoke out.
Man, I could not talk about the files and just watch stuff like that forever and just be like, America's awesome. Because, America's really great. And I wrote this, and apparently a lot of people agreed. Check this out. Apparently 1.3 million people agreed. I thought it was 60,000 likes to saying, honestly, Mossad is pretty impressive. Pretty damn impressive. Insane, but you got to hand it to them. They can literally RIP your kids, blackmail your politicians, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you speak out, you're an anti-Semite. They can control both parties and the media. This is impressive. And I also pointed one thing out too as well, which is this. It's they wanted you to be mad at Tucker Carlson for interviewing a world leader while they mopped up the Epstein Mossad blackmail law, finished the Diddy cleanup, and all these Israel First Editionists hate you. They fly American flags while serving a foreign nation. And it's like, yeah, I feel like we're living in Seth Dillon's wet dream. You know what I mean? It's just that only $3 billion was given to Israel, not 5. You know what I mean? It's like what it feels like is that we're in a diabolical situation where everybody's gaslighting us into thinking that Trump is fighting for America, when in reality, it feels everything but that. And when you point that out, they call you woke right, they call you anti-Semitic, they call you all types of names to try to discredit you and make you feel small, like you don't matter, like somehow you're infantile and you're not thinking well, and maybe you're going crazy, and you're going, I think you guys are fucking insane.
Yeah. Yeah, what they want to do is, this is one of the reasons they don't want a third party. They want two parties so they can divide us and then pretty much control us depending on what your team is. They don't want you to have any kind of free thinking. You know, if a conservative group says one thing, you know, then you have to follow everything. If Democrat group says one thing, then you have to follow that. You know, so that's why they really don't want a third party. They don't want to add anything else into that. Do I think Elon should be the person as the third party? I have my concerns about that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much what our country's come down to. It's come down to sports teams where people can't think freely. And the only time that you see these parties actually agree, the only time you see the Democrats and the Republicans come together and say, we need to do something, it only happens with Israel. We've seen that with TikTok. We've seen that with funding. We've seen that with the war. That's the only time that they actually want to unite and then, you know, have us follow full-heartedly.
Yeah, it's really disappointing because I think the 2016 Trump sort of broke the mold in terms of what politicians were allowed to say, do, think, or act. And that gave a lot of people hope. That gave a lot of people who were like us in this situation. Obviously, in 2016, I was a little bit younger. I wasn't as involved. I couldn't even legally vote. But it gave a lot of people hope, like, okay, maybe there is that politician who isn't like the rest of them, who is, you know, wanting to do what the founding fathers intended, because we know the founding fathers warned against a two-party system. They knew what would happen if we elected officials based on a two-party system, because it would split the country down the middle just like it has, and they were completely right. Mm-hmm. And you have Trump come along and he's quoting the founders and he's doing all these great things, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, he just wants to build a wall. That's his thing. He's going to build the wall and deport people. I don't need anything else than that. And then flash forward, 8 years later, and now we have Trump fighting for the uniparty. And everyone who is like us, we're feeling disenfranchised because we're going, all we wanted was to have an actual system where people could live the American dream like our parents and grandparents did. And that has been taken from us. And every time we try to point that out, every politician sits there and they point the finger at us going, well, you are X, Y, and Z. You're a xenophobe, you're racist, you're homophobic, you're sexist, you're transphobic. Like, they just say the words. And the majority of people who cannot think for themselves, I mean, it's like 1/3 of the country doesn't walk around with an inner dialogue. Like, they don't actually have a voice in their head monologuing what's going on, or, they don't actually have that rational brain capacity. 1/3 of the country is sitting there just agreeing blindly with what they're saying. And we sit there and we watch them. We're going, can you guys wake up, please? Just a little. Like, I don't need you to go full-fledged conspiracy theorist. I don't. You could. I wouldn't be mad at it. But I don't need that. I just need just an ounce of thought that is more than generic spoon-fed propaganda. Yeah. And that it seems to be too much to ask for.
Well, a lot of these people are non-playable characters, and what they do is we glorify our leaders and our politicians. We say that they can do no wrong, and what we have to do is we have to actually hold them to each thing that they do. We can't just lump sum everything together. Oh, everything Trump does is good. No, you're only as good as the last thing that you did. So these bills that they're pushing, I mean, it went from the guy who was supposed to bring us free, which he did get me free out of jail, which I've mentioned many times. I am happy about that. But we see a pullback on other things, war with Iran, that was being instigated. We saw H-1Bs being pushed. We now see, freedom of speech being stopped on campuses and other places, saying that if you say something that's wrong or anti-Semitic, that, you can be expelled from the country. So it's been a full, turnaround that we've seen with him, where unfortunately these things that they're pushing for are not in our best interest. Even police stating us, pretty much with Palantir, they want to come in and have a police state, so this way they can control us. So what we have to do is we have to hold our politicians accountable for the bills or the actions that they're taking, and not just sit there and say, oh, he can do no wrong, everything is great, and it's not great. And what we need to do is we need to stand up and speak against it, because unfortunately we're seeing it now. We're just being pushed aside. Our country's still being flooded. Yes, the border was, pretty much closed up, which is a good thing. But you see now that we're allowing that, hotel workers and farm workers and all these other people get to stay, and just many other bills that, unfortunately are not in our best interest.
Yeah, they sit there and they go, well, these people need to work the farms. They need to work at the hotels. You shouldn't have hired them in the first place. Mm-hmm. Now you get to suffer the consequences of choosing illegals over American citizens. That is how it should work. And I've said it time and time again that there needs to be a reformation within the voting system. The problem is we can't seem to elect a politician who's willing to do that. And then we sit here and we glorify Trump. I mean, as a Catholic, I sit there and I have, all of the sacraments of the church, and I have all of this beautiful, like all of the architecture, and people call me an idol worshiper and then cry over God bless the USA while someone's painting a photo of Trump. And I'm sitting here going, are they not like really? Like I have angels and saints and Jesus right in the middle on the altar, and I'm called an idolater and a blasphemous person. And then Trump puts a golden angel above the ballrooms of Mar-a-Lago because that's what happened after the attempted Butler.
Well, it's that you kind of annoying me because I was thinking we need to actually. I don't even. You're annoying me because you are pissing me off because I'm thinking like. When I saw Cash Patel put his hand on the Bhagavad Gita, or whatever that book's called, to join in, I thought we don't need angels. We need more people running our Department of Justice enforcement arm, the FBI, that worship literal demons. You know what I mean? Like that's what we need. And I thought, you know what? Could it get better than a guy who worships demons? Could it get better? Because that's pretty damn cool. You know what I mean? It's like 1980s. That'd be the coolest kid in high school if that was me. But check this out. He also has his politics straight, which is really, really a good sign. Remember this clip?
We will shut off the machinery that feeds money into Iran. We will no longer have 100 hostages still in captivity, Israeli and American and otherwise, by Hamas and Iran's Hezbollah mercenary forces. We need America to wake up and prioritize Israel and bring home Israelis and make sure we stand by.
Oops.
Well, you know who he's married to, right?
Israel?
No, PragerU girl.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
I don't remember, Sarah.
Alexis Wilkins.
Who's Alexis Wilkins?
She works for PragerU.
Let me see.
No.
Alexis, let me go to this.
Alexis Wilkins. It's his girlfriend, right? They're not married.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I was double checking.
Alexis Wilkins. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, she's an employee at PragerU. Cash Patel is dating her, and then boom, now all of a sudden.
I think I know her.
Yeah,
She's
I think
speaking at
she
Turning
follows
Point.
my page.
Isn't it a shame how, as white guys in
Does
America,
she not show up anymore here? Sorry, I just want to know. She doesn't show up?
I don't know if she has her
Let me see.
own X
Give me a
account.
second.
But isn't it a shame how Indians?
Yeah, she's on there.
Isn't it a shame how Indians can have a certain advantage when it comes to getting jobs in America that we don't? Like if I wanted to buy a gas station, I would have to pay significantly more, and the banks would not give me loans. Versus they just do to Indians because H-1Bs or whatever.
Oh yeah, dude. And like, can I speak about PragerU? How funny PragerU is? PragerU put up this video, and it was titled on TikTok like, "They don't want you to see how the black culture really is." And this is not a joke. It was that the gay black guy who wants to be white that dyes his hair white.
Xavier.
Xavier. Thank you. How did I forget that? I love that guy. I want to be him. I'm going to do my little curly whirlies and dye them black. And then I'm going to start like doing like this. Go, girlfriends, listen. This is what's going to happen if you let PragerU's conservatism get in the way. You're like, I don't know if it's a good advertisement for conservatism to have like a homosexual black guy as that's like tries to be white on your. No judgment to him, by the way, because he's in LA. He's actually probably one of those normal people living in LA.
It's true.
He's probably one of those normal people living there. So he's actually probably a pretty normal guy. It's just like, it's a weird brand for conservatism to be like, let's conserve homosexual minorities. You know what I mean? It seems like an odd platform, although don't let me judge you. Keep drinking your Erewhon, girlfriend, because hell yeah. I have no judgment. It's just like weird. But they did put up this video I saw on TikTok. He's very popular, I think, with the TikTokers. And okay, like they played this. I didn't realize it was him until I looked at the bottom, because watch this. I think this is her singing, by the way.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I proudly stand up next to you.
Okay, I have so many thoughts on this, but like I'm gonna get in trouble. But I want to be. This is supposed to be somewhat of a mature show.
Easy.
But I have so many thoughts. Okay, number one, I was gonna say this: the fact that they framed it like this is what Black Americans are really like, and their Democrats don't want you to see it. There was like 5 black people there, of like 100 white people which is like actually pretty normal demographics. Like that's actually just like a normal situation. Now show me a party where it's 100 black people and 5 white people. Maybe it'll be different in a positive way. There'll be more flavors, more seasoning, and more soul. I'm not saying that's
And
a bad
shootouts.
thing. No. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Every culture is equal.
Yeah.
I'm saying that, you know, it was funny because it was just framing. It was like, that's not a black party. And I don't think anyone's making the argument, which I've never done it either. I think anyone's making the argument that like all black people are violent or like you can't hang out with black people. Like that's just like stupid, or like there aren't patriotic, awesome black Americans. So I thought the framing was silly because I was just like, this is so corny. Like, you know, like imagine it's like showing like a white person like dancing to like hip hop music. And it's like, who said white people don't dance to hip hop well? It's like, well, that's a very niche, you know, example. But also, I've been friends with a lot of black people over the years that are conservative, and they just admit they're grifting his shit off the white people. Like it's like they're just taking it for the money. And I say take the bag. Xavier, get that bag from PragerU. Like I think that's cool. You know what I mean? You know what's cooler than fighting Zionist power? Being black and taking their money. That's sick.
I mean, they do say get that bread.
I like
So
it. I
guess
support it.
I support it. Nothing says conservative values like drinking Erewhon and being
$20 smashed
twin.
bananas. That's hell yeah. It's like fiscal conservatism is $20 smashed bananas. No, but I'm not even joking. I've met a lot of these people and they're like, dude, you know it's a grift. And I'm like, but I support it though because it's like, what's the best way to fight somebody? Drain their bank account.
Well, you do see a big push with that. Anytime someone comes out and they're black and they're conservative, you're going to see more of a push on a lot of these pages. And the same thing with gay. You know, all of a sudden became this campaign where you have, you know, a bunch of gay influencers. I don't know if it was to capture the gay vote, to help with the black vote, but you see it time and time again. I mean, that's one of even Turning Point's specialties. They love to go ahead and put out a bunch of, you know, people who are homosexual and then have them like just blasted across their accounts. So...
But what do you think about that?
Yeah, also,
I don't know. I like it. Drain the money, grift on that shit. Like I support it.
well, it was I saw that post too, and it was so funny. Xavier being like, "Oh, this is the side of black people they don't show you," and it's like, okay, your entire job is just like being a black guy who hates on the black community. That's like that is his entire job. That's why he got hired, because they wanted someone to hate on black culture, but they needed him to be black, so they hired him. And that's like how he became famous. And then ironically, the post either right before or after that, he was trying to subtweet me by saying that women who advocate to repeal the 19th or advocate against feminism are just pick-me's. And I was like, isn't that your thing though? Like, okay, I'm a woman who advocates against certain, you know, things.
Yeah, but you're not getting free trips to Israel. I saw him clubbing in Israel. You're not getting.
But it's like, how are you? It's like, so you're calling me a pick-me for attacking certain aspects of like female, not culture, but just like feminism, I guess. Which I actually think attacking feminism benefits women in the long run. But you're doing that, calling me a pick-me, and your entire thing is just hating on other black people and hating on other gay people too.
It's such a good grift. You know what I'm talking about, the conservative, like, and I'm talking about this in a very mature way because I could be very immature about this, and I am behind the scenes in many ways. But like being mature about this, it's like it is funny that he's calling you a pick-me because like it is such a funny grift, and I see this too. It's like it's the same thing as the gays who do the. I saw one video today that was like, they always call everyone sisters. Like, hey, brother, I'm a guy. Why are you telling me sister? You know, it's like, he goes, hey, sisters. I don't even have to do a gay voice, just my voice. It's like, hey, sisters, it's time that the LGB divorce the T and the Q. And it's like such a weak like position where it's like, we got to get back to just anally penetrating each other without being confused about who we are. And it's like, that is a crazy ass position to take politically. Like, if you think about it, it's like, even the black one where it's like, hey, we could be black and gay, do whatever the hell we want, be degenerate, but let's not shoot each other. It's like, that's a really low bar. You know what I mean? That's a really low position, low hanging fruit that I feel like it's almost kind of like, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of like the gay conservative fighting off the Q and the black gay conservative like being against twerking. It's like, they're just a different kind of degenerate. So just don't put up the act. At least I'm like honest that I'm like a bit of a degenerate myself. Like I'm not a conservative. Never claimed to be a conservative. I'm not trying to be a conservative. I should be a conservative. I'd be better if I was a conservative. But it's like, let's not put on we're a conservative organization. Like I don't like conservatives because they're just liars.
Grifters.
Yeah, he's like, it's like his whole career is being like, black people are so degenerate. They're leaving their baby mamas and they're twerking, and it's like you literally have sex with other men.
Hell yeah, based
Based in a weird way.
and that's your whole personality. That's like what forms your identity, is having sex with other men as a man, and then you're just like.
All right, we can cool it on the sound effects.
A little trigger happy.
Going in.
It was like
it's like minorities running your soundboard.
Literally. Golly. This is why we only hire straight white men here at Rift.
Definitely true.
Elijah choked on his drink.
We live a gay Mexican on the board. No, but okay, but this does bring up the wider point. The reason why I'm talking about this is I'm relating this to Cash and Dan, which I'm gonna play another clip from Dan. I'm not just going off on like Xavier and stuff because Xavier's he's probably not that nice, but he's been nice to me when I've met him before in the past, and I've even said he's actually like a normal guy for LA. I just, in the conservative world, it's funny to we have a lot of this people that realize that conservatives are losers. This is gonna be really mean to people, but conservatives are losers who want so bad to be accepted by liberals that rather than just being cool and accepting the cool side of conservative right-wingism, like the crusade identity and being far right and being proud of your ethnic heritage and your European identity, which is what makes us cool, they celebrate Kid Rock, and that's crazy. Like, we got Kid Rock on our side. Like, dude, Kid Rock doesn't even want to be on Kid Rock's side. Like, to be completely honest, Kid Rock, no offense, actually, sorry, Kid Rock, you're nice, you're probably an awesome person, but my point being is like, they want so bad, like everybody in right-wing media is a failed Hollywood actor. So that's like actually true. The only reason why I don't count, even though I did a little bit of acting in there, is because I'm from there. So it's not the same. I didn't move there to do that, but I'm from there.
It's true that politics is just Hollywood for ugly people. We've heard this a million times, and it never becomes more true.
I know, but listen, I'm saying this as like the dumb way. And what do they all do? How do you know they're grifters? This is the litmus test. It's not racial. It's not if they're black. It's not the fact that they're gay. That's not how you know they're grifting, okay? It is this.
That's right. What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is number one? That's right. What?
Dude, I can't take it anymore, damn it. How many, Dan, we know each other. You're an awesome guy. You're a man of character and morality. Like, you have a family. You've been fighting cancer. You've been doing so many things, but how can you take medicine to fight the cancer in your veins and take up an oath to protect this country when your heart is to protect a different country and you won't fight the cancer occupying our government? It's like a very serious thing. There is a tumor inside of our country and it is eating us alive, and everyone's bowing down to it, and they're all afraid because they don't want their money shut off. And it's just gotten insane to where it's like, dude, stop offering me trips to that country. Damn it. Stop it. I don't want, I actually wanted to go at one point just to see it.
Yeah.
And now I can't even go to your damn country because you're probably going to kill me, because you guys are crazy. I saw their precision strikes in Iran. I don't know if you saw those. Insane. Mm-hmm. They were putting bunker busters into busy intersections during peak traffic and blowing up all the apartment buildings and cars. I watched cars go 40, 50 feet up in the air and explode. The precision strikes in Iran while Iran was attacking civilians, as you know. Let's forget about Gaza and all those other images. This country is sick, and it's like these people are twisted. They're not our friends. They've captured us. And then Charlie Kirk, holy shit. Charlie Kirk, let me go to this. What the hell, dude? What the hell? I like you, Charlie, too. So it's not even a shit talking thing, my guy. It's just like, You've got to read the freaking room, dude. Look what he says here. Read the room today. The conservative movement needs to focus more time, energy, and focus on how Islam is rapidly taking over the West. Ah! What is wrong with, why are you guys, whoa, why do you guys worship these people and just gaslight us? Stop. You're all smart. You know what the hell you're talking about. You know that we're right. You know that we're captured, but you got too much of the tentacles are too much in your business. You know? You let the hose get control.
That's why I have a hard time with the whole binder with DC Drano. I'm sure maybe that they did get caught off guard to walk out with the binders and to do the whole photo op. But these are the same groups of people that are pushing us to just continuously go to war for Israel, to continuously put Israel first before the American people. And if you're going to be an actual journalist, which they want to claim to be, then what you have to do is actually read the information before you go start doing a photo op. So it takes away from the integrity of these people. You know, we can see that they're all bought and sold. You know, unfortunately, Turning Point USA, a lot of that money, I'm sure, is coming from Israel. Same with the others. I'm sure they're collecting plenty of money from Israel. So what they do is they just go ahead and they push that agenda. They expect us to follow and be brain dead, you know, and then just switch the story quick. Kind of like when Caroline Leavitt was up there and she talked about Epstein for a second. The next she goes as well, you know, and we're helping with immigration. What they want to do is they want to put something new, shiny in our face. So we all turn, our attention span goes away, and then we just follow what other, you know, bullshit narrative that they want us to go with. So I don't have faith in any of these people. You know, we did escape mainstream media because of the lies that we were told, and we got frustrated and we were like, we're not going to follow this anymore. But what ended up happening is all these other organizations just got picked up by the same type of, you know, payments from the foreign countries, and they're just continuing to push the narrative. So when we think that we're going to X and like, oh, we're finally free from mainstream media, a lot of these people that you're following, a lot of these people that you're listening to, they're just the same exact thing. It's just repackaged, rebranded, and then that's what we have nowadays with a lot of these influencers.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is like we're joking about, oh, you know, get that bag, do this. But like, at what point are you selling your soul? Because you have a price as a person, and that's whatever it costs for you to be bought. And when you see all these people spouting these same vapid talking points of, well, we have to protect and we have to do this and we have to do that, it's like, okay, so you had a price and they were able to match it. You're saying, well, oh, you know, take the bag and just drain them of money. They have unlimited money, it appears, because they can
to
just
the grifters.
Keep, yeah, exactly.
I'm saying
to
go
the grifters.
grift. Go grift proud. You know, I don't think you know my humor. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah.
Like, go get that bag, dude. Just go, go do it. If you're gonna grift, just go have fun and go do it.
Do the biggest grift that you possibly could. You know, like the movie The Sting with Robert Redford. But you have all these grifters who are going out and they're spouting these stupid ideologies where all we have is a country that is completely dead set, like we said, agreed on defending a country in the Middle East. Well, we're ravaged from within, and everyone's like, well, we need to stop Islam. I know how the Crusades worked. I'm not worried about Islam. I'm worried about the people that opened the gates of Toledo in Spain. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about who's letting Islam into the country. That's the bigger threat to me, because as long as Islam isn't getting into my country, they pose no threat. They don't have the missile
pose a threat
capacity.
to Europe, though. Like, I think what people don't understand is like, yes, but like if you're following our book club, by the way, which no, I'm just saying, follow our book club. Remember, chapters 4 through 6 this Sunday. Make sure to, by the way, actually make sure you read this, because chapter 4 is like 50 pages or something crazy. So it's like, it is like 100 and something pages of reading. But you can win another one of these. And if you didn't claim your prize, one of you won this and we emailed you, please claim your prize. It's a brand new Kindle, but we're reading Where the Right Went Wrong with Buchanan. Yes, it's a little bit of a long first book, but I'm just saying, yes, Europe and Christianity have been at war with each other, and it very much is a problem. In the United States, we have a very different problem, right? We've lost the Protestant foundation of our nation. And this is why Catholicism and Orthodoxy are on the rise in the United States and Protestantism is on the decline, including they're in the decline in the West, is because people are seeing that it is Semitic religions that are controlling the West. Mm-hmm. It is Judaism and Islam. The United States was conquered by Judaism. Europe is slowly being conquered more and more by, right now, in some cities, by Islam. But that's also a net result of Judaistic Zionist wars that go on in the Middle East. And so it's like, you know, you do not have to be Islamophobic. All these words are psyops. Like,
yeah.
like you don't have to say I'm not. Like, never say I'm not Islamophobic. I'm not anti-Semitic out of context. Like, if someone's, you know, dumb and you have to explain that to them, like, hey, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm not this. Fine, explain that to them to get down to their level. But never in your heart be like, am I anti-Semitic? Am I this? No. You see the truth, you notice patterns, you know what's going on, and you want what's good for your country. The right says if you notice these things, you're a leftist, you're a Hamas supporter. But here's the truth. I've always said this. You know, most young people notice the same problems. Just because they come to different solutions doesn't mean the problems aren't real. Just because socialists and communists want production by the means of the people and they want to destroy billionaires and have state-run facilities does not mean that noticing the problem of accumulated wealth in our country is a leftist issue, right? That is a problem of non-patriotic robbery of our country, that you do have these elite class of people. Charlie Kirk even used the phrase tonight, the ruling class is trying to push for mass amnesty. You saw him, he used that phrase, that they're trying to push for. Trump might do it too. There's a ruling class. Now, just because you notice that, you're not a socialist, you're not claiming that we need to, do this or do that. You might be claiming we need a monarchy, or we need a resolution to destroy the bourgeois, but through a just means, through a fascist state. You can still be right wing and notice the problems, but the right is so disingenuous and they're so trying to hold on to power. Guys, democratic socialism, not like the party, but this way where we're voting in these socialist countries. We live in a socialist country if you're black. It's a capitalist country if you're white here, by the way. It's the truth of the matter. It's a different political and economic system for the blacks and the whites. If you notice that's a problem and you're tired of sending $2 trillion every 10 years to black people, they're transferring the wealth from whites and Asians into black pockets. They're robbing us blind. And they mock us, and they're cruel to us, and they hate us, and they call us names, and they make fun of us when our children die in floods, and they take away our degrees, and they push us out of industries, and we're losing the ability to get promoted and raise money for our families. These are serious things. And if you want to solve that problem, that just makes you a human being. And don't let these stupid fucking right-wingers, sorry for my language tonight, but I'm tired of hearing all this, gaslight you into thinking that, Trump's got some plan and that there's some way out of this. The only way out of this is going to be fighting for your own family. We've got to pull together. There's going to be no other way but finding a way to pull together, not to be communists, not to be socialists, but damn well, I'll tell you this, I find more in common with a young kid who's socialist, who wants to destroy BlackRock and Vanguard, than I do with Seth Dillon and Joel Berry. Not because I like socialism or communism. I don't think their solutions are good. I condemn them wholly. James Lindsay would love this quote, but it's like, I condemn their solution, but at least they see a problem. They're retarded and I'm not. That's the difference.
Yeah, well, BlackRock and Vanguard, State Street, that's all been a cancer to the United States. They've been, running these businesses in that whole gay agenda pretty much that's being pushed. The pride agenda is all going through them. They have report cards on companies. They're also the same industry that's buying up the market, buying up all the homes, raising the prices on us. And also a lot of the food and the crap that we eat in grocery markets are also tied to BlackRock, Vanguard, and all that as well. So, it was Ian Carroll had a good video about that, talking about how they create the poison, then they create a cure, and it's just like this vicious cycle. And as far as Trump goes, I'm getting sick and tired of the whole 4D chest, or what are we on, 100D chest at this point?
It's like double D chest.
Double D chest, yeah.
I know that.
The James Lindsay chest.
Yeah.
That's an E.
So, it's just crazy. And then you hear from these conservative influencers. I know you mentioned Charlie Kirk. He's the same guy who's putting out stuff saying, America's just an idea. He's also the same guy that said, as long as you're a Christian, then you could be American. So these ideas that they're pushing are ridiculous. The fact that they want us to file wholeheartedly and blindly while we allow our country to just explode and be destroyed, we can't keep playing these games with them.
Well,
so
it goes back to who runs BlackRock. Like we're saying, oh, well, I'm not worried about Islam. I'm worried more about who's letting them into the country. I'm not worried about people owning houses. I'm worried about who's controlling the market. BlackRock is owned by Larry Fink. They have over $30 trillion in assets. They have the entirety almost of our national debt in terms of their money. And what was Larry Fink in charge of in 2006 and 2007? He was in charge of helping banks give out loans to people. He is the reason that the 2008 housing crash happened. And what happened when the crash took place? Well, the government said, you know what? You could get us out of this. And so they gave him money, and he used that money at BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street to buy houses up, which is why we live in a renter's paradise today. So I'm not worried about the little idiot over here, the retard doing this thing in the corner. I'm worried about the person who is in charge of trillions of dollars of assets, who is buying up land, who's buying up properties, who's preventing me from having a future. And it's like you said, there is no way out of this other than fighting for your family. And this isn't like a call to hurt people or whatever, because that's a disclaimer for social media and stuff. This is just saying that something has to take place. Something has to happen. It's like what you were saying. Well, the socialist kid at least sees a problem. Whether or not their solution is good is sort of something we could discuss later, but at least they see that there is a problem.
It's like a religious person versus an atheist. Like I can deal with someone of another religion versus an atheist. Like someone who finds God to be something different doesn't mean I think they're correct. It's just like I do understand that you believe in God, and I can respect at least the belief in a higher power, right? For the atheist, it's like I have no respect. So that's the way I look with any of this stuff. It's like I do respect these kids that see Israel's evil and they do see what's going on and they want justice for Palestine, but they're also stupid because like I've always said, the reason why I don't identify with them is because I'm not pro-Hamas and I don't want justice for Palestine because I'm against colonization. It's like, I want our countries to be dominant in the global, stratosphere. But I know what they're doing is wrong. Now I want to read a couple super chats. Bloodshot 567. Now you can hit the super. You actually do $2 gets nothing, so that's fine. Please bring back the dancing intros. Sad one. Maybe in the future on Fridays, there's that. Also on Rumble as well. Remember, we're on YouTube and Rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys got to play some music here. You got to play some music.
Oh, no.
Yes, you got to go to him real fast. Got to go to
taking
him.
the jacket off?
Yes. Put some $100 from Homer J. Fuentes.
Why does Fuentes want me naked?
For the strip show with the inside custom jacket. This is what happened to give $100. He quoted, said, "When we win, do not forget that these people want you broke, dead, your kids raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny." Quote, Sam Hyde. Let's go. Let's get a round of applause.
I didn't mean to flex right on that quote. That was a bad time to do it, but
It's true. I'm like, so I just moved this weekend, and thank you, Homer. I will be having a housewarming party, Homer, probably in a little bit. I had the lucky thing where I moved in, and then they didn't tell me that they were going to take the fridge because I'm renting. Someone's like, "You're renting? You haven't even been in this country for I've barely been here for maybe about a year, about 12 months now. I don't have an established line of credit here, but we'll see what happens because maybe I have to stay in this country and not go to any other. We'll talk about that later. Who knows? I do want to switch. Reminding us, we're on YouTube and we're on Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you guys. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, send it to your friends and your family. If you're on Rumble as well, like, share, subscribe. If you're new here, watching for the first time, we are live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at 7 p.m. And we have content on Sunday. So now we are 7 days a week. New content at 7 p.m., but we're live Monday through Thursday. So we're live, and then Friday through Sunday, it's pre-record, but we still have brand new shows that we play live every one of those days. So we appreciate it. And this last weekend we were on a break. We mentioned we were taking Friday through Sunday off, had a little vacation. I don't know if drinking 22 beers makes you relaxed, but apparently it works for some people. Saying their names, but perhaps it does. But I appreciate it. So if you guys are watching anywhere, make sure you guys tune in every night, 7 p.m. We have new content. So it's kind of easy. When are we live? Every day. And if we're not live, it's not because it's just like something bad happened, like somebody got away with the international child rape scheme. Anyway, I'll go to what you put up there, right? You just put something up?
Yeah, well, I highlighted what Elon's response was actually to all this, the Epstein files.
Okay, let me read that real fast.
I told
Elon
you so.
Musk, said this. "We will release the Epstein list. We just need more time. The Epstein list is on my desk. There is no Epstein list." That's actually pretty good. No, it is good. And there's a lot of talk about there, but I want to hit some other topics here. Usually I don't want to go an hour and 10 minutes on our top, our intro story, but this is a pretty big one. I mean, it's like the Epstein, we just got gaslit into oblivion. Let's check this out. So, let's get into our top stories. Let's talk about the Texas flood. This is actually very serious. I want to keep it a little light, but I want to remind you guys that this Texas flood happened in Kerr County. And what's unfortunate about this, as we'll talk a little bit about the raids going on in Los Angeles and as well as the interview with the Iranian president, I was just thinking about the fact that, some people were pointing out, why would anyone live near a river in the wilderness? Why would anyone live rural? Why would anyone be rural? And they were saying, like, why don't you just live in cities where it's safe? And so I wanted to remind you guys what average cities look like in America today. Check out what 4th of July weekend was like in Philadelphia.
Terrible trigger discipline. Go Birds.
Dude, I've always said I want to create like a BLM bullet, you know? These are going to be my best customers. There's no aim. There's no aim.
They're going to use the whole clip.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I said, check out this clip. And everyone's like, it's a magazine. I was like, no, it's the clip of the show. But yes, it's a magazine in the thing. That is absolutely crazy. Just to remind you guys, it's like we aren't safe anywhere, right? It's like, you know, even Mother Nature doesn't leave us alone. Unfortunately for the people in this video, Father Nature apparently left them alone a long time ago, so that's not good. But I want to actually get into a very serious story. So there's a lot we could talk about here. There's some huge contradictions. I pointed out earlier, as we'll see, Ted Cruz is now in Texas. I was surprised to find out he still goes there and pretends to care about the country. Can you, by the way, close that door? I just don't want to, I don't know how that opened there.
Did you see his 4th of July post, Ted Cruz's?
No, I didn't.
He said, this 4th of July, we remember the Americans, but more importantly, we remember the brave IDF soldiers that came and trained at my Texas facility.
Let me see this real fast.
Yeah, you have to look
Did
up
he
his...
actually say that?
Yeah.
There's no way he said
his
that.
whole
I
post
can't
was,
even believe that.
happy 4th of July, everyone, but more importantly,
He had to have
IDF.
deleted it by now. Okay,
There it is.
Read that. Put it up
Happy
there.
4th of July. Today is also the 47th anniversary of the daring Entebbe raid. I was only 5 at the time, Entebbe. But I remember being inspired by the amazing courage of the IDF team that rescued the hostages and killed the terrorists. I thought, that's a very Texan foreign policy.
Someone also said, by the way, on that last video, Lake Worth meant Lake Worth activity, which is actually
Very true.
Yeah.
I got a nail in my tire when I was there.
Are you really? From then?
I was there.
But that's so crazy. While his people were being wiped out in a flood, I am telling you guys, you do not understand how bad things are. And I really would not talk about this as often if it wasn't a serious problem. It is not an I feel like, oh, you're obsessed. Oh, here you go, obsessed with Jews and stuff like. No, hey, listen, I know people who are. Okay, I know people who are obsessed with Jews, and like they really, truly don't talk about anything else. They don't have another personality. They don't do anything. But this is a political, social commentary show. These people are involved in everything.
Yep.
So much so, I'm going to avoid talking about a certain country that my family's from. But, you know, obviously I've always had problems there because of their hate speech laws, which are now stricter. And Sarah Goldman now is lobbying the federal government saying that the hate speech laws are not strong enough. Sarah Goldman in that country where they had the camps saying that for even a white Australian to insist that there was a white Australia or that white people have any autonomy or that Australia could even be for white people should be punished with jail time. And the government's thinking about it and then lobbied the governor of New South Wales, where Sydney's at, to which he stated, he literally stated, this is why we don't have free speech laws like America, because nobody who comes here should be feeling like they are ostracized or criticized for living differently than the way we live. Essentially telling all the white Australians, you have to accommodate everyone who comes here and they don't have to accommodate you. They can stab you and rape you and do whatever they want and it's okay. But we just took away your free speech and we're not going to have free speech anymore like America because we need to make sure that all these immigrants can do whatever the hell they want and that if you criticize it, you go to jail. He said that. And I'm going to say this to that premier. I agree. It's fantastic. Let me into your country. I really agree with that. I support it. I love the stabbings and machete attacks. I love it. We should build more houses for Aboriginals. I don't care if they burn them down. We should give them free alcohol if they want it. I think that everyone in Australia should do whatever they want. There's no Australian identity, and that white people hallucinated the last several hundred years of their nation's history, just like I hallucinated the Epstein files. They never existed. I mean, but I love in our country that we have the same gaslighting from our government, but we're allowed to talk about it. That's the only difference. Like there, you just can't talk about it. Ever wonder why there's no good political podcasts from that country or any of those countries? Every Canadian that wants to have a good show comes here. If you want to have a good show in Canada or that country, you work for Rebel News, which is also run by who? One of the Sarah Goldmans. So it's like you have Avi Yemeni and Ezra Levant, who also both happen to be IDF soldiers, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like that's their right-wing media. That sucks.
I'm getting sick and tired of it. So what you're seeing is the narrative escape them. They're no longer able to control it. You see it in Australia, you see it here in America, and you're seeing it in other countries as well. What they're going to do, their goal now is they know that the boomers are fading out. The loyalty to Israel is going away. So the one thing they have to do now is they have to go ahead and restrict speech. They have to, restrict the way that we communicate to each other. They want to stop it in its tracks. And they know that no matter what they do, they're not going to be able to go back to that blind allegiance that they had with the boomers. They know that this new generation is not going to put up with it. So I'm tired of these politicians like Ted Cruz and everybody else. Yes, here, when I help find these stories, the one thing I try to do is sometimes I get tired of talking about Israel, the government in Israel. I really do. But it always leads back to it. And our politicians are always bringing it back up. And it's like at some points we can't even escape it because it always falls into the same Goldmans and the same others that we have.
You want to escape. It's like the same thing. It's like I want to escape it. And then I find out while I've been gone that Sarah Goldman and the Australian Jewish Coalition came together and have tried to make it that people like myself can't, go there. It's like, what are you doing? Like, can you leave us alone? Could you leave us the hell alone and let us just I know you don't like Christianity and I know you don't like God. I know you hate Jesus Christ. You hate modern civilization. You hate that we love our land, our patriotism, our identity, our racial ethnic group. I know that you hate us, but I read history and I know what's going to happen. That's all I'm saying. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oops. I shouldn't have said that, but I'm looking forward to what's going to happen. A 20% off Joe's Crab Shack Friday night.
We're all looking forward to 20% off Joe's Crab Shack if we're being honest here.
Actually sweating. It's like, it's just because it's hot in here.
It's true. No, you're not nervous. Sarah needs to let him in. Actually, Elijah and I were talking. He's going to do a stream where he eats curry with his hands to prove just how tolerant and loving of different cultures he is. So that's how he'll get into Australia.
Well, apparently, from what I've heard, eating curry with your hands, eating rice, eating spaghetti with your hands is literally the same as eating a hamburger or pizza. That's what I've been told on the internet. There's no difference at all. And, if you're against one of those things and not the other, you're just racist.
Yeah. As much as I like to pretend that certain people don't even exist, I will say somebody who used to work at the show did have a pretty fire tweet that was lambasting Zoran Mamdani for eating with his hands. And somebody responded to her about how, it was the same thing as using a burger or French fries. And you're like, hey, it's like saying, just because you pick up food on the floor with your hands, do you wipe your asshole with your hands? You're like, there's a big difference, Both are waste, but one is literal shit. And the other one is just like a grape on the floor. That's kind of that's my best example of people that don't understand civilization. You're like, one is acceptable. They're both trash and both should be, thrown away. One is your asshole and shit. And that's a grape. So it's a little bit different, but touching them. That's why we use toilet paper and we usually use utensils because we don't eat actual curry ass powder as food with our fingers. It's really with civilization.
It's why, when we go to an American restaurant and then there's a menu and there's a section on the menu and says handhelds. So those are things that are made to eat with your hands because they don't fall apart. And then everything else is just in a different section. And you're supposed to use something that we invented called a utensil. That not everyone was able to invent it, but we did. So
I will tell you this though. That's why I'm going to go to the gym. But if you want to go to the gym after, you always want to come. We have a gym right here now too that I can get you in. But there's this. I can't even say it because I want to say it right next to where I live. But there's a really great Japanese place that's open until 11 every night. And I got some ramen last night after the gym, and it was absolutely healing. And I got to remind you, even with ramen, it's what's going on here? We got sticks and ladles and just there's so much going on. Give me a fork, please. But but I feel like you have to eat Asian food like ramen you have to eat it like that, so you feel special. But let's go into the floods right now. Do you know how to trigger the top stories graphic? All right, trigger it. Okay. Dude, what the hell? Like, I need a refrigerator, and they say they're delivering it tomorrow. Like, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, we're gonna deliver it on Saturday. Like, okay, so you just to this delivery windows. It's just these people.
Here we are talking about a horrible flood, and we're like, this is terrible. And Elijah's like, but can you believe my fridge?
No, it is true. When you have a family, they need to eat. You don't want to feed your kids fresh food.
I know, it's frustrating.
What I was saying is that it's this. It's saying like the delivery partner like overscheduled. I was talking about this with society. Is that like everything in life is inconvenient and nothing is convenient, and you know who's doing the deliveries in the area, and it's like it feels like no matter what you do, like I had to go on the phone with a credit card company for 3 days to get a new credit card until I got somebody named like Brian Luke just to like get a credit card, because they'd be like, no, that's not you. That's not you. What do you mean you need a new card? And you have to like deal with people, and then it's like, hello, do you need card? And like you go through this thing for like days where you waste time and time and time and time. However, that's the joke I was saying, is that I was like, you know what? Regardless of that, we just watched a story, which we'll get into, of a guy who like lost his arm saving his family. And so you have a little perspective. You go, look, life does suck.
Well, you think your life is hard because you don't have a fridge. I'm still waiting on my Brandy Melville package. You're supposed to get here this afternoon, and it's not at my house yet.
Dude, my Temu clothes from those Chinese sweatshops still hasn't arrived. It's been weeks. I'm sitting here going, man, those kids need to work faster.
It's true. No, but I was saying,
I
noticed
back to the flood.
Yeah, well, I noticed everything sucks in this country, but you still have your arm and you still have this. Now, these floods are actually really serious. It's like, jokes aside.
It's terrible.
Yeah. So it's absolutely insane. Check this out.
En el centro de Texas, las celebraciones del 4 de julio se convirtieron, en cuestión de minutos, en una verdadera pesadilla, cuando los niveles de río se dispararon y desencadenaron inundaciones repentinas y mortales.
Right now, there are 20-some that aren't accounted for. That does not mean they've been lost.
Al menos 23 menores que acampaban en el área se encuentran en estos momentos desaparecidos. Equipos de rescate esta tarde por tierra y aire recorrían el caudaloso río Guadalupe, llevando a cabo rescates y buscando a personas reportadas como desaparecidas. Al menos se han reportado 5 alertas de máximo peligro de inundaciones para comunidades a lo largo del río Guadalupe. Esta zona central de Texas recibió la lluvia que se esperaba durante todo el verano, en solo cuestión de horas, y en algunas partes se reportaron hasta 10 pulgadas de lluvia, en una zona de sequía que tomó a todos por sorpresa. Algunas de las casas cerca de este río quedaron prácticamente destruidas. Las autoridades en estos momentos están buscando a personas desaparecidas.
Okay, so that was in Spanish, which is very Texan. But there's nothing joke about this, by the way. This is kind of crazy. These are old. Like, you know, the stats are old. It's like 100, I think.
Yeah,
now.
it's up now.
And like so many children. All I was gonna say is this is a tragedy. It's absolutely terrible what's going on. And I just have a feeling we're going to be dealing with North Carolina again, of a situation to where these people are going to be forgotten tomorrow. They're not going to get the help that they need, and we're going to send more money to
other countries.
Yeah. Well, we always put the other countries first. We saw that after, Hawaii was pretty much had their fire over there. Same thing with California had the huge fire. Then you had the Carolinas, which had the flood, and the whole time we were just sending money to foreign countries, Ukraine, Israel, and many others, even to do like gender study. So it does get very frustrating. And I know that one of the officials came out and said there's 75 bodies have been recovered. I'm sure the number has gone up since then, 48 adults and 27 children. But the sickening thing, too, that you're seeing from a lot of people, on the left or just in general, is how they're coming across and attacking everybody. I highlighted a few of them for you that are actually in the doc, where you can see how disgusting people can actually be. These people, they're losing their lives. Their homes are destroyed. People are dying. And what they do is they use this as an advantage to attack, to go ahead and just be hateful, or blame it on climate control and blame Trump for a flood. So it's just ridiculous. Yes, there's things that Trump's doing now that I don't agree with, that I'm frustrated with, but go ahead and start blaming him for this flood and blame him for all this other crazy stuff is really just ridiculous.
Well, it's ridiculous, and it's also childish. I mean, you have people like, what's his name, Ron Flippanowski or whatever. He blocked me because I called him Ronathan a little while ago, which I thought was a funny way to get blocked by someone. But he made a post saying the deaths of these people are on Trump's hands. And I'm sitting here, really? Like, genuinely, the bodies are still warm, and you are out here trying to blame the president of the United States, who had nothing to do with rain. He had nothing to do with the summer camp that was going on. And then you had a black lady going on, and she's saying this is a Christian camp for white little girls. And so both sides of the spectrum are, it's Trump's fault or they deserved it, which are just ridiculous takes. And they're only going to make people even more extreme in their views. You know, like for all of his faults, Trump is already going out to the floods. He's already going to ground zero to deal with helping people, just like he did at 9/11, right? To be fair, he was there helping people after the attacks.
Yeah, he said he'll be there Friday.
Yeah, and so he's going out to check the people, and he's going out to take care of everything. And it's like, all right,
he's not there because you know who he's with today?
Who's he with?
Netanyahu. Yeah, so he had to meet with Netanyahu first.
Yeah.
I'm not just making sure his priorities are straight. He had to meet with Netanyahu.
Wonder if
today.
he's going to pull the chair out again for him.
Damn it.
Well, I'm just making sure.
I got not to be that person who's like, oh well, both sides are bad, but it is really annoying. Every single time there is a natural disaster, it's like someone comes out and is like, oh well, it's actually Biden's fault. It's actually Trump's fault. And then they're like the right wing's like, oh well, actually it was weather manipulation from the Chinese because they wanted to sell the land to the Clintons or something. And it's just like, honestly, I feel like natural disasters have always happened. You can't really blame that on politics. Like, obviously there's some political discussion to be had about like cleaning up after it and everything, but it's just, honestly, that's one thing that just really pisses me off. It's like, I feel like natural disasters should be like the one thing that our country should just be like, oh, we should maybe just help each other out here.
Well, we should be more united. Absolutely. We should be more united when these types of things happen. I mean, these are terrible events, but what they do is they say you can't let you can't let a tragedy go to waste. You can't let something like that go to waste. So pretty much what they do is they think, okay, this is our time to capitalize on it. This is our time to go ahead and use this to our advantage. And we see that time and time again. You know, if it's with the weather, we see it. Same thing with gun grabs. What they go ahead and do is if there's a tragedy, somebody's like a crazy transgender who wants to go shooting everybody, like, well, this is a perfect reason why we need to get rid of guns. So what they do is they just take any opportunity they can to go ahead and manipulate the story. So this way it could be used to their advantage. And it's crazy.
Yeah. And it's really interesting. And this is totally non-proven, nothing, just like a thing that I heard. But there was supposedly a man in the 1950s who claimed that he could make rain happen. And to prove it, he went to California and caused one of the worst floods in the state's history. And then supposedly he was so sad about it that after he denied the government, they were like, we want to buy this technology from you. He denied it. He was so sad that he unalived himself. But that, if that technology ever existed, doesn't exist anymore. And our government would never do anything to potentially put its citizens at risk, you know, for the sake of the greater good, or creating a tragedy to divert eyes and or draw attention from something else.
Yeah, you know, I was looking right now. Yeah, it's over 100, by the way, killed.
People.
About close to 40 children, and it's, you know, it is really, really, really frustrating. It is really frustrating to me that people joke about the fact that, you know, oh, this is white people and they voted for Trump and then he defunded the National Weather Service and that's why they didn't get alerts. When in reality, I think it said that the river expanded up to 26 or 30 feet in 45 minutes. And it was late at night, 4 a.m. There was broadcasts. It was rural. A lot of people were not looking at their phones. The Weather Service had 5 staff members at night when usually they only have 2 because they predicted what was going on there that night. Emergency services were on the scene. One individual, which will look at toxic white masculinity, he rescued 165 people, one Coast Guard special swimmer. But, you know, some of the people that criticized it was Dr. Christine Probst. She said this. Go ahead and read that there, Braeden. Can you read that?
I'm just waiting for it to. May all visitors, children. There we go. May all visitors, children, non-MAGA voters, and pets be safe and dry. Carroll County MAGA voted to gut FEMA. They deny climate change. May they get what they voted for. Bless their hearts. What a terrible person.
She's terrible. She's terrible. What they do is they bring it down to that. As I said, they just take advantage of any moment and then to sit there and protect FEMA. I lived in in the Tampa area when we had the hurricane that came. And what FEMA was actually doing is they were actually skipping houses if they had a Trump sign on their lawn or whatever. They turned it into something political. And I don't know for sure, but there was a couple of us in my neighborhood where we all applied to get assistance for the damage that was caused. And anybody who, and I can't say this is 100% for sure everywhere, but what we found was the people who were conservative got no kind of funding, but people who were like independent and something else, they did get funding. So FEMA is just corrupt all the way around, unfortunately. You know, they've lied to us in the past that, you know, I remember one time, I forget what year it was, they even came out and they did a whole fake interview at the White House. They brought in all their own reporters. They got caught doing that. I think that was during the the Bush administration. And FEMA has been crooked since the beginning. FEMA has been, ever since then, have continued to just go ahead and use politics against people to manipulate situations. And it's a really disgusting organization, FEMA. And even also another thing FEMA does, and I won't go too much down road, FEMA is the guidelines that they put on a lot of the American people. You know, so for instance, in Florida, a lot of homeowners, they wanted to go ahead and they wanted to rebuild their homes because their homes had been destroyed. But FEMA put in guidelines where basically if you wanted to rebuild, you can only rebuild up to a certain amount of money, which a lot of these homes are worth a lot more than what they're allowed to do. Or they had to actually build on top of their home a whole nother floor, like basically come up, which people can't afford as well, and just remodel and create all brand new. So these guidelines that they put in place are not affordable for a lot of us. And what they do is they pretty much destroy everything that they've tried to go and help. It's been terrible.
Yeah, I mean, my aunt and uncle actually live in the west coast of Florida, and their house was destroyed by the first hurricane and then obliterated by the second, and they received nothing. They got no funding, no compensation, nothing, and they're not even political. They're not even out there. They don't have social media. But FEMA was like, well, you live in this area, so we're just not going to give, because we can guess the people who live here are probably Republican. We're just not going to give you funding. Remember the chick who was in charge of it, that one girl, they let her off with a slap on the wrist. Should have been more like a whip, but they didn't even she's basically spending no time in jail. She's a couple fines to pay or something, and they just sort of let her go for outright saying in an email, avoid houses with conservative signs in the front yard. I mean, the fact that we have this, you said she's a doctor, Chrissy or whatever?
That one was
her name was let me see, Dr. Christina. She's a white woman too, Dr. Christina Probst.
White women have been one of the most just useful idiots for the left that we could have ever imagined. It's a shame. But the fact that this is someone with a medical degree, this is someone administering aid to people. Could you imagine the malpractice case that could be brought against her should she discriminate against a MAGA or a Republican patient, which I'm sure has happened? People just haven't had the guts to bring anything forward. I mean, if you are a practicing doctor and this is what you're posting online, then your personal beliefs, oh my gosh, how crazy do you have to be? Because this is really what we're dealing with.
Yeah, it goes back to saying how we need to separate ourselves from politics at certain times. So like, for instance, with the flooding or the natural disasters, we need to go ahead and just work together and not go against each other. But the same thing with doctors and what we should be able to do is know that we're going to be treated as a patient, not as a voter. And what they go ahead and do is they usually try to attack you that way. They, okay, well, he doesn't have the same beliefs as me, so they don't deserve the same type of care. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So at some point, we need to step away from politics and have a human aspect to us, an actual genuine aspect, which we don't have.
Well, that's possible when you have a homogenous society that is actually like cohesive.
Yeah.
When you have a society that's divisive, when you have a society that's divided by race, color, creed, religion, ethnicity, whatever, then people just aren't going to, they're just not going to work together for whatever reason. Not like that's just a humanity aspect of it. I don't know why, but that's the way we are.
Yeah, but here's a few other things too that was happening here. Also, there was a TikToker who came out, and shout out to everyone, by the way, who's watching on Rumble for the first time. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And then shout out to Homer J. Fuentes back in the chat.
Homer!
Confetti, please. Confetti, please.
He's looking for it. There we go.
I'm just hard on him because rather than being nice to your staff members who are going out of their comfort zone to switch a show, you get hard on them, and that's before the show. But then you also you go hard on them and you humiliate them in front of the camera. But also you've been watching for years, and this is how we've always done the show. It's better than Gavin, who'll be like, "You freaking moron. You suck at this. Like in front of everyone. Like, I don't know why I hired you. Have you ever seen his fights with Ryan? You ever seen those? There's been fights on the show where I thought it was a joke. Like where they just like quit the show, middle of the show because they got in such big fights. And I thought it was like a complete joke. Turns out it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
But it turns out here that this black woman said that these girls died in the flood because of racism and illegals being deported. Listen to this. Oh, wait. But Homer J. Fun said, he who controls the weather will control the world. VP LBJ at Southwest Texas State University, 1962. And yes, we're going to talk about Palantir in some
Well, they
cloud
do have
seeding.
control, yeah.
We're going to talk about it. Watch this.
Someone said, because y'all scary as fuck, and I don't give a damn. Them little girls, them people died because of racism, not politics. Boom, I said it. I don't give a fuck. And I said no. Nope. Because more YT people will have to DIE in order for motherfuckers to what? CARE. I said what the fuck I said. I don't give a fuck, and minds are here with me. We voted the correct way. You reap what the fuck you sow. Just the night before the flash flood happened, y'all were okay with motherfuckers being stripped away from their motherfucking families and never seeing them again. People being deported. Y'all were okay with that. Be okay with not finding Sarah Lou. Be okay with not finding Billy. Be okay with never seeing them again. Keep that same energy because I'm here for it. I am so here for it. Because I've been reading the comments and the shit y'all be saying. Y'all didn't give a fuck when it was brown people. We sorry that it's white people now, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a repetitive cycle going to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until y'all get tired. Racism cost y'all more than y'all thought. Racism wrote that line? Racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. Yeah, racism wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash. And guess who's paying for it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy, huh?
All that
That's
forehead
insane.
space. Yeah, all that forehead space, and she couldn't come up with a single original thought. That's crazy.
Yeah, they just turn it into hate. It's sickening. And a check that they can't cash. I'm sure she's not cashing them either, collecting plenty of EBT. But no, it's just sickening to see the way that these people are attacking. There's even a bunch of tweets I think I added in there as well. But you can see how does that even make sense that racism is causing it? It doesn't. It's just a chance for them to speak out and to make it about them and take away from what's actually happening.
Yeah, she's trying to change the stereotype that it's now white people who can't swim, which is a little insensitive in my opinion.
Yeah, well, it's stupid. She's basically trying to say somehow like Trump caused these flash floods, and so people voted for Trump because of racism, and now their kids are dying, and it's like, in no way does that make any sense, and it's not true. But also it's like, even if that was what caused the floods, like these are just innocent little girls. They didn't vote for anyone. It's just evil. You know what I mean? She just hates them because they're white. And I feel like people need to realize that a lot of these people will just hate you because you're white.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it really goes back to when you said, oh, well, it's because they voted for Trump. Could you imagine if Kamala was president right now and that happened? She was saying like, guys, they floated. Like, could you imagine that was her reaction to this happening? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and I want to play this one more thing. There was another girl who was, she just got fired, but Sade Perkins, former market manager of Freedman's Town Farmers Market and a non-resident fellow at Princeton University, who recently, by the way, was trying to fight against food insecurity, had this to say. Listen to this.
There's people in it. Oh my God, there's so many people in it.
I know I'm probably going to get canceled for this,
this,
but Camp Mystic is a whites-only girls' Christian camp. They don't even have a token Asian. They don't have a token black person. It is a all-white, white-only, conservative Christian camp. If you ain't white, you ain't right, you ain't getting in, you ain't going, period. And I think that context needs to be said in this matter. It's not to say that we don't want the girls to be found, whatever girls that are missing or whatever right now, but you best believe, especially in today's political climate, if this were a group of Hispanic girls, especially with them being in East Texas, it should be most likely Hispanic. If this were a group of Hispanic girls out there, this would not be getting this type of coverage that they're getting. No one would give a fuck. And all these white people, the parents of these little girls, would be saying things like they need to be deported, they shouldn't have been here in the first place, and yada, yada, yada. So before y'all come at me, before y'all start leaving hate comments on my page about, oh, these are just kids and they don't know no better, da, 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 da. The parents of these children who are choosing, and it is a choice in 2025, it is definitely a freaking choice to go into East goddamn Texas and to make a all-white enclave, exclusionary just for white people, with all the black people in East Texas, with all the Hispanic people in East Texas. Somehow, some way, you have carved out an all-white, whites-only enclave in East Texas for your white children. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I have a big problem with that. Once again, this is no shade to the girls. I hope they all get found. But once again, y'all have to understand the climate that we're living in. They want you to have sympathy for these people. They want you to get out of your bed and to come out of your home and to go find these people and to donate your money to go find these people. Meanwhile, they are deporting your family members. Meanwhile, they're setting up concentration camps and prisons for your family members. And I need y'all to keep that in mind before y'all get out there and put on your rain boots and go find these little girls.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And so she got fired because also, like, I want to remind you that people are like, this is just some crazy person. I have told you this. I've been around these communities. They actually don't like us. And they get excited when we die. And it's like they don't care, which is like the tribalism in the world. That's what it is. People are very tribal. It's a very, very interesting thing. The only racial group that has out of group preference are Caucasians. But I think it's a very interesting, argument because, like, I don't understand why people don't realize that even our own government hates us. Remember, like you said with FEMA, you're a Trump supporter, they skipped over you. Like, they want to get rid of the white majority in these countries. It's a very open secret, right? And they want, there's a destruction from within. And when you see people worshiping a foreign nation and neglecting their own nation and on their own Independence Day celebrating the IDF, you have to say who can you not criticize? In Australia, in the United States, this is who has power over you. This is your king. This is your Lord. I give them no power over me, though, but it does make you question. I think the one thing that we all realize is I do think we're just cooked and we just sit around and watch the decline. That's what I think.
Well, her claim is also stupid. It's like we actually have a Civil Rights Act, so that's illegal to have a whites-only girls' camp. You can't even really buy land privately and just say, I only want white people to live here, because that's what some people are doing in Arkansas, and the ADL is coming after them and trying to shut it down. And that's just people moving onto land. So you definitely can't do an all-white girls camp. That's just not true. It's probably just expensive. Like, I saw they're on horses and stuff, and I don't think the camp takes EBT payment. So
yeah, I mean, that's the thing is there are, if this was any other race, color, creed, ethnicity, nobody would bat an eye. They'd be like, good, they're building their own little center for themselves. But because there were photos of a couple white girls on horses or swimming in a pool, everyone loses their mind and they're like, well, this is racist and they deserved it. Which, one, like you said, insane that these people blatantly and openly hate you for the color of your skin, and you're just sitting there like, you're my friend. No, they're not. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that there are bad people in the world who wish nothing but harm upon you, and we should be allowed to avoid them. We should be allowed to not want to be around people that want to hurt us. That shouldn't be a problem. But like Sarah said, the town in Arkansas with the guy founding it, he's now losing all of the things that he worked for his entire life. He's losing his livelihood because all of a sudden him going, I want a town with just a couple of my friends, and all of his friends happen to be white. And now the ADL, Berg, Stein, or Timowitz, right? They're going, this is not okay. We need you to bring in a bunch of Saudi Arabians. We need you to bring in a bunch of Lebanese people. That's what you need. You're missing the culture. You're missing the seasoned food. And I was like, well, you know what else I'm missing? Low crime rates. That's what I'm missing right now.
Yeah, and the sickening part is if this was, as you mentioned, this is any other race, it would be totally different. We've seen that with Black Lives Matter. They had a bunch of events where they only wanted black only. I mean, there was movie showings that they had, and they were like, only black people should go to this event. You had the mayor of Massachusetts. I think it was the mayor who went ahead and had parties just for people who were not white. And we've even seen it with bills that are being passed as far as business owners. They hand out loans as long as you're not white. Any other ethnicity could have got a business loan. They did the same thing with farmers. If you were a farmer, the only ones that would get the business loans were the non-whites. So we see this time and time again where it's acceptable as long as they're able to do it. But the second that it goes towards anybody else, it's like, just white, then it's a terrible thing that's happening. So the way they manipulate things to their advantage, but then, if it has whites, then they feel like they're being disadvantaged.
It's not all of them. It's always them though.
Yeah, okay, but I do want to. So this is like actually kind of crazy with everything that we're talking about. I do want to say that one of the things I want to talk about is the Iranian interview with the president of Iran. However, these other topics, so we'll probably talk about some of the raids tomorrow. Should we talk about the Iranian interview tomorrow or tonight, or the raids tomorrow? Because those are ongoing.
I feel like the interview is going to be more for today. Maybe,
okay, yeah. So we're going to talk about the interview, but we're going to do it only on locals because I want to actually do a real segment there. I want to actually go over this and talk about this. By the way, if you go to Snowflake _news on X, he clipped up the whole interview. And you can watch it. So if you're not a member of Locals, you can go watch all the clips there anyways. But I want to give you guys something special on Locals. Starting today, we're going to go over there. And if you're a member, you can join for the first couple minutes. But then it's going to be after today, I can flip a little switch and change it to members only. So if you go to ElijahSchaefer.locals.com, make sure you put that up on the screen there. If you go there and join us, if you're on Rumble, you can hit the little follow button. If you're on YouTube, you can go to ElijahSchaefer.locals.com. I'll go ahead and I'll throw it in the chat here. This is the link that you can go to. It's free to join. It doesn't cost you anything, but I encourage you to do so and to join. If you're watching there on Rumble, I don't need to put the link. You hit that little red join button that's there on the side. But I do want to tell you guys, we will be doing that and going over and talking about the interview, breaking it all down, exclusive for you guys. But starting today, sometimes it'll be free. It's for members only. So you got to join. You can watch for the first 5-10 minutes, I think, and then it switches over to members only. But think about joining because we didn't do any ads this show. Like that, the first thing was just letting you know we have a new ad tomorrow. But the reason why we didn't do any ads is because I wanted to encourage you guys that sometimes we won't do ads, and we're just going to encourage you guys to join the Locals and become members to remind you guys that, there are ways that you can watch this show and join without sponsorships. Now, I've seen some people cry. Like I saw this one grown man cry about the ads. I go, we do like 2 or 3 ads in like a 2.5 hour show. You crying over like 3 or 4 minutes of advertising. If you watch TV, you get 20 minutes of show and 15 minutes of commercials. Like, grow up, grow the hell up. But if you do want to join and support this, we are a brand new venture. We are supported by you, by our people, and we appreciate you joining. So please consider joining. We'll go over there in just a second. But one last super chat from Zesty AIDS said, racism causing diabetes, heart disease, and flash flooding since the dawn of time. Someone also said, Lunar said, hail Sarah SS01. And someone also said, what does that mean? Someone said, didn't Elijah used to date Loomer back in the day? No. What the hell are you talking about?
It's the new Milo scandal.
Like, what are you talking? Is that some new thing?
Milo Yiannopoulos? Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
he's been posting some crazy stuff
he
about
didn't say I
Loomer.
used to date her.
No,
Oh.
but everyone is saying that she dated him, and I think they're moving on to you now.
Oh, I was like, no. She's a very nice lady, but like, there's only one Jewish woman that I love. I like how people like still just eat that up.
Okay, I wouldn't go so far as to call her very nice. Let's not be too
well, I'm not. If you want to go ahead and start a war with Loomer, enjoy it. I don't want anything involved in that.
Yeah, we're sitting this one out, champ.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sitting this one. I have no desire to pick a fight with Laura Loomer. There's some people that I just have no desire to pick a fight with because I don't desire to. It's like, I want peace in my life. You know what I mean? I want peace in my life. So I don't want to do anything like that. She's a nice lady. I'll leave it at that. Did she say a mean thing to you, Sarah? Probably. Do I condemn that? Yes. But I would just leave her. Some people just leave them be and let them fight other people.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like somebody will come out and write a horrible tweet about me. Like people have done that and I just like ignore it. I just go, whatever, and just move on. And it's like horrible. Like it's like accusing me of terrible, terrible things. And you're just like, I don't even want to defend myself.
It's just not worth it.
Let's not even go there. We'll just let people believe what they want to believe and just move on. I do that for about 2 years of my life. Just let everyone speak and then move on. But we're going to head over there. Shout out to everyone on Locals and on Rumble. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm throwing the link from the YouTube into the Rumble. We are there, but before we go over to Rumble, give everyone a chance to plug their channel. Sarah, plug your YouTube, plug it, and then we'll see you guys over. Same with you guys, plug it.
Yeah, everyone follow my YouTube channel. It's just Sarah Stock, and I have a few new I have 3 new videos that will be dropping this week, so definitely stay tuned for that. And then I'll be at SAS. I'll be at the Turning Point USA conference, and we'll be doing a bunch of content there with Braeden.
Yeah, so if you guys have interesting things to say to them and want to get interviewed, you can, but just know you can't harass Sarah because she's going to have Braeden, who's also 7'5". So he'll be standing next to her.
For the tall Aryan guy.
And you get to meet our intern too, who will be there with them as well. If you want to know that, but you can't post his picture online. Thank you.
Don't dox him.
No doxing.
Yeah, no doxing people. All right, Braeden.
All right. Braeden Sorbo on any and all platforms. And don't forget to buy Embrace Masculinity at sorbostudios.com. Pick up a copy. Maybe we should do this for book club.
Someone also said, did Sarah ever make those pies?
No, the pie vlog is coming soon, guys. Just stay tuned. It's on my desk and it's ready to be released. But it's just, it's going to happen. It's totally going to happen.
Henny.
All right. I'm not baking any pies, but I'd love for you guys to check out my pages. My name's Michael, but snowflake_news. You can find it on Instagram as well as X. Love for you to come check it out.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and BRB. Just do a quick BRB screen. We'll see you guys over to cover the Iranian segment. And then if you guys want to watch that segment, you can go over there and watch it on Locals, ElijahSchaefer.locals.com. I'll see you there in just a moment. Have some fun. Give us a few minutes.